Good morning. Welcome to the Police Service Board of October 21st. Call this meeting to order. First, is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Ceremony activities. What's that? Yeah, none today. So we have a presentation this morning by Philip Cookett. Philip, would you come forward? You can turn your microphone on there.
Beautiful. Morning, members of the board. Thank you very much for your time this morning. I don't have a fancy presentation for the group, just some information that I was hoping to educate the group on and then bring a request forward. Maybe I'll start with the request. The three local school boards, the Grand Erie District School Board, Brant-Haldwin Norfolk Catholic District School Board, and the Conseil Scolaire Catholique Mont-Avenir, the French Catholic School Board, currently are participants in the CAA's Patroller Program. This is a program that's alive and well up in the county of Brant and the city of Brantford. And my ask to the group today is to see if there would be openness and the ability of the Norfolk detachment of the OPP to partner with us as well to be able to offer programs locally. Currently up in Brantford and Brant County, we train approximately 1,000 students, a little over 1,000 students. And through a partnership with their community liaison officer out of the Brantford Police Service, I was able to weasel my way in to their Friday afternoon sessions in order to have some of what we call pilot sites trained. So the 1,000 students, we were given a total of 125 spots where we could bring students in from our other counties, Haldimand and Norfolk, in order to train those particular students. Idea being, if we're able to get a grassroots foothold, we're hopefully able to see them principals jump between locations and maybe bring the program along with them. This year was the first year where demand exceeded supply in that we had to turn schools away. We had to turn a total of 3 schools away here in Norfolk County because we simply didn't have enough spaces for them. We allocated, again, about 60 spots for those particular schools, and as such, we lost out on an amazing opportunity in order to train some of our students. The training itself consists of 2 kind of streams of training. One is called a bus patroller, as the name suggests. It literally has students clad in high visibility yellow vests, assisting the school bus driver in keeping the vehicle itself safe. They assist the driver in emergency situations with bus evacuations. They bring information to the driver's attention. And if you've ever been on a school bus with up to 65 elementary students, it's a busy happening place. So these folks are there simply as assistants to the school bus driver. The other stream of program is called a foot patroller, and as that name suggests, they help out with individuals who are traversing around the school just on foot, bike, scooters, whatever they have. They assist, you'll see them in other locations where they actually branch out beyond the school itself. Locally, we've just had them assist though, right immediately in front of the school, helping students and families get safely onto the property and safely off of the property itself. The training itself, although it doesn't have to be a sworn officer of the law, the CAA strongly recommends it in that police presence, you're active members in the community, you already have relationships with our schools, and you're an officer as opposed to Joe Schmo off the street. The CAA provides this training to the officers free of charge. The training itself takes place in August, September, and October annually, so we've missed our current year, but again, this is more of a future thinking, hey, is there any interest in it to the group? It's approximately 4 hours in length. That is the 2-hour training for bus patrollers, 2-hour training for foot patrollers, and it requires zero commitment other than your officer's time, if you so choose, to attend the training itself and then to carry this program forward. Part of the restrictions or the limitations that we have in offering to the Norfolk County of Schools, Norfolk family of schools, is the fact that it just takes us a long time to bus students from kind of the wilds of, if you will, Houghton up to Brantford back down to Houghton in order to make our regular instructional day. As such, our Friday training, which is what we're offered from the Brantford Police Services, currently is like a 10 to 1 window that we're allowed to bring students up to train, as opposed to the 2 sessions that are housed for those students in Brant County and Brantford, just because it takes less time to bus them there and to bus them back home in order to catch the regular transportation. We don't have a safety village locally, which I understand we are in the works of. It's been a while coming now, but that being said, I am very confident if the group were to be open to the idea and were to effectively supply me with a trained officer, I would be able to make that space either through a community use agreement or through one of our schools in order to house a program or multiple programs in order to service the students and the schools who show an interest in this particular geographic area. I'm moving forward also with a similar ask to our Haldeman detachment to see if we can, again, extend a similar invitation there to see if there is interest in order to educate the students of Haldeman County as well. That's effectively it. So no immediate ask now. The window itself has passed for our training for the coming school year. The students that we do have trained in Norfolk County have already been trained. And this is more forward-thinking, looking to further the partnership between Norfolk County OPP and the local school boards to see if this is an initiative that you would be interested in participating in and, working with us in order to keep the students of our region safe. Thank you.
It sounds like a great program. I'll go over to our inspector. Are you aware of the program, Inspector?
I'm aware of the program, but I wasn't aware that there was any Norfolk schools involved. Which schools in Norfolk are currently involved?
Currently, we have St. Bernard's in Waterford and Boston, up in Boston.
And who provides the training to them now?
Currently, it is the courtesy through the Brantford Police Service and the Brant County OPP Service who provides that training to us. The school boards covers all costs associated with the program, that being transportation and into the ongoing pizza parties, year-end celebrations, things of that nature. So it would be zero out-of-pocket expense for the Norfolk detachment of the OPP.
And does the training have to be done at the Safety Village in Brantford? And the reason I ask is because you were talking about distances, and I know it's quite a distance from Houghton and that. Is there an opportunity to set up something at a local school to do the same training?
That is exactly how I would foresee it playing out. The Safety Village is amazing because it provides that off-road experience that looks like an on-road experience. However, no, by chalks, by paint, by any means, we could certainly replicate in a somewhat reasonable fashion kind of the Safety Village experience at a local. I picture maybe a secondary school going out back of HT or something like that, marking up for an afternoon or a day or even a couple of days depending on demand. Making it work, if you will.
Yeah, very good. Perhaps we can hook up after offline and discuss for the coming school year.
I would hugely appreciate that.
Okay.
And I'm sure this is something the board would support. Now, again, how long has your program been going in Brant?
It's a great question, and one I should have come here with my due diligence. I've been working with the school board for 10 years, and it certainly is long-standing before my current role within the board. I couldn't, unfortunately, give you an accurate number as to the number of decades prior to that.
Having said 60-plus elementary children or kids or whatever on a bus, what are some of the positive results that have come out of this? Because you hear the negative ones of bullying, etc. Can you expand on some of the positive results of the program has produced?
Absolutely. So the primary focus of this particular program is one of leadership, students taking on a leadership role. 6, 7, and 8 students are the students who we focus on in order to achieve this. We have regular mentorship of those particular students. We had an event last year whereby a student had experienced a seizure on the bus, and it was actually one of our patrollers who brought that to the attention of the driver in that they weren't positioned up at the front, and this was a first-time event. And because of that, the child was able to get the emergency services they needed in a timely fashion, and we now have a student who has a diagnosed condition who, again, suffering seizures in this particular instance.
Well, I see positive things out of this. I don't know, we can give you an answer today as far as the board goes. Mike?
The CAA, I don't know exactly how they started it, but they are the keepers of all of the information. They are the master trainers, if you will, who go and train each of the constables or the officers within each of the areas. They are the providers of all of the hardware, the safety vests themselves, the training materials, the updated curriculum. They also have the backbone infrastructure via their website in order to collect the knowledge verifications, things of that nature. I don't know if it's funded through some type of provincial or federal grant, but they are the keepers of all of effectively the physical copies of documents and training sessions and things of that nature.
There being ever any liability to a municipality with respect to this program?
Not to the best of my knowledge. The only liability that would be borne is patrollers operating as patrollers who have not received the full CAA training. I believe that there is liability coverage offered through the CAA as long as students are acting within the scope of their role. So yes, I do not believe that there is any additional liability other than kind of the wannabes that's, yeah, acting outside of their role or not having fully received the training of the CEA's patroller, be it foot or bus program.
Obviously, when I was in high school, we've come a long way that when I used to get caught by the hall monitor, but, you know, because times have changed. Even, I don't even know if we have hall monitors anymore, but having said that, I don't know the wishes of the board. I think this is something we'd be interested in working with our partners, the OPP, and making this happen. So any suggestions or whether?
Would move that we receive the report presentation from Mr. Phil Cookett, from the Manager of Transportation Services for Halton Norfolk Branch. Transportation Services, is that it? Yeah. Okay, and perhaps Owen's got that. And that we have the inspector meet with Mr. Cookett to initiate a program. That's my motion.
Second? All in favor? Carried. Thank you, Mr. Cookett.
Thank you so much for the committee's time.
I wasn't at the last meeting, but if you want to take a minute for approval of the meeting of September 25th, any errors, omissions, or motion or information? Okay. Oh, okay. So, Inspector, that program is, you are aware of it? Right. Okay. Okay. So we have the mayor is present. We have a quorum. Minutes of September 25th. Any errors, omissions? Moved, seconded, carried. Correspondence, the billing statement on 19. Do we want to get into that now? Is that, because we're going to have two meetings coming up just for that.
There is a meeting, I believe, scheduled for November the 25th, whereby municipal policing will be down to answer any questions from council, finance, or the police service board. And the draft copy of everything will be presented before that.
And again, the full board would be, the next board meeting, we could discuss at that meeting because the full board will probably be at that meeting.
Yeah, I believe the meeting is the 25th and the board meeting will be the 27th.
Oh, I presume, oh, sorry, go ahead.
It begins November 1st.
So the reconciliations are always 1 year behind. So next year, 2020, we'll have the 2019 reconciliation.
I wasn't at the meeting, at the community chairs meeting, but it sounds like we're go ahead. So are we, is that being disbanded, the community chairs? Or are they,
So, yes, the motion, they're disbanding the local subcommittees and they're going to be forming a single all-Norfolk community policing committee.
okay, so it's not totally lost?
No.
Oh, good, okay. It's just the problem of getting volunteers and, okay, that's good news. That's good news. Okay, I guess we move on to number 8. Number 7, information, was filed for information, and Inspector, your report.
So the Police Service Board report for September 2019. Overtime allotment per the contract, $387,628. Dollars spent to date estimate, $252,998, which is about 65.27% of our allotment, which is down from where we were in 2018. Auxiliary policing hours for the month of September, 426 hours put in by the auxiliary unit. No tributes. Crime Stoppers correspondence. For September 2019, there have been 437 anonymous tips received so far this year. Student Crime Stoppers, the schools are back up and running, so Crime Stoppers is meeting with the principals, vice principals, and teacher liaisons to ensure the programs are up and running. Promotions, they presented to, participated in, met with, or gave promotional items to the Senior Support Services, Ducks Unlimited, Donnybrook Fair, and attended the Caledonia Fair. In conjunction with Constable Rod LeClaire of Haldeman OPP, they gave a presentation to the Dunnville community members on internet safety, including luring of teens, and the presentation was hosted by the Optimist Club of Dunnville. The regular media relations were conducted throughout the month. A shredding event was held in Dunnville on September the 7th, raised over $400. Nationally and internationally, they continue to carry out information regarding human trafficking and counterfeit goods and contraband tobacco. Of note, Chair Neil Unwin and Crime Stoppers Coordinator Amy Bernardo attended the Crime Stoppers USA Training Conference, which was held in Arizona on September the 22nd to 25th. It was a great benefit, networking with Crime Stoppers programs throughout the U.S., Guam, and Canada. And it was an opportunity to get a different perspective and discuss common interest on issues regarding the program. And I've asked Crime Stoppers Coordinator Amy Bernardo to attend board meeting in the future, just to give a short synopsis of the trip down to Arizona, because it's quite the seminar. And as always, the board is actively seeking new board members. Overtime hours for September, there's 1,196 municipal hours and 337 provincial hours. Increase, of course, was because of Friday the 13th. And then the next pages are the Police Service Board statistics. If anyone has any questions regarding those, please let me know, and I will answer them. Focus patrols. Just want to give an update on the one for the Norfolk.
I do have a
Sorry.
question.
Yep.
Sorry, you said that's because of Friday the 13th, that significant increase there.
In September, yes.
But even all the previous months are way high compared to the years prior. Are they not?
For September, if we look across the 2017,
Oh, sorry,
2018.
Joe, I was on the wrong column.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Oh, Inspector, and again, what your overview on Friday the 13th, just since it's brought up, a quick mention?
It went well. There was no major significant incidents of note, and we continue to have debriefings. I believe tomorrow we have one with the county officials, and then next week, or maybe it's the week after, we have one with the the community partner groups, so.
Good news, okay.
So for the Norfolk County Fair, I know this happened in October, but it's Focus Patrol. We had 13 officers dedicate 114 and a half hours to the Norfolk County Fair. There were 23 occurrences related directly to the fair. We had 7 911 dropped hang-ups, 4 Liquor License Act violations, 3 thefts, 2 warrants were executed on persons attending the fair. There was 1 assist public, 1 medical assist, 1 bail violation, 1 impaired operation, 1 family dispute, and 1 missing person, 1 suspicious vehicle, 1 animal complaint, and 1 theft. Out of the 23 occurrences, 3 charges were laid and several warnings issued. And I just want to go over the Haldeman Norfolk Community Street Crime Unit, their third quarter statistics. So for the third quarter of 2019, the street crime unit executed 17 warrants. Those were drug search warrants, general search warrants, DNA warrants, Feeney warrants. In total, in the third quarter, they laid 58 charges. They seized a total of $13,747 worth of drugs, fentanyl, cocaine, meth, carfentanil, and other miscellaneous street drugs. They recovered 2 vehicles, 2 prohibited weapons and a total of 10 property seizures in total. Cash seizures, they recovered $8,500 and were involved in 553 investigations during the third quarter. So they're a very active unit, very effective unit.
Any other questions for the inspector?
Yes. Well, year to date, we've had 124 occurrences, which is up from the 91 that we had this time last year, so that is an increase. And I don't have the breakdown of how many of those are alcohol related versus impaired by drugs.
And that's the big problem. The drugs are now putting that statistic up.
Well, any impaired driving, whether it's by drugs or alcohol, is a problem, but of course we're seeing more of the impaired by drugs as well.
And we now have stiffer fines, and it still doesn't deter the public. We can, before we go into in camera, I wanted to say a little word about Carol Greentree. Of course, Carol is leaving, and she was only on the board for a short time. It just proves that politics makes strange bedfellows. But Carol was involved in community policing community policing program for years as a volunteer. Her vast knowledge of her social network. She's worked for NACL for years. We wish Carol well, but I do believe that we're losing a very valuable member in Carol, and again, we wish Carol well. Having said that, we have a motion, and it's been carried. Oh, yeah, Monty, any questions? Quiet day today. So I guess we move into in camera.